Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in
Hello,
a red
Trabant.
dress.
Hello, Tito.
Who is this young gentleman that we see here?
This old piece of shit is who looks like an aimless whale that is about to be washed ashore. Is the former leader of China, Mao
This
Zedong.
this is the great helmsman himself.
Yeah, that's what he is called in China. Yeah,
Well,
that's
and what
correct.
what is he doing here? If I'm not mistaken, he is swimming in the Changjiang, in the Yangtze River. Although it does look more like he is floating, and he's quite a bit old here, isn't he?
Yeah, it's 1966, and Mao Zedong is 72 years old.
Well, why is he doing that? Just to take a morning swim, or what is happening here? Because I can see some more people here swimming with him, and this seems to be a kind of a large event.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence. Mao has chosen to join 5,000 swimmers in Wuhan
Wow.
in 11th annual Cross Yangtze competition because he's going to prove that he's still vigorous and full of energy.
Ah, so he still got it. Yeah.
He still got it because he's about to launch Culture Revolution.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, what was the Cultural Revolution? Because if I'm not mistaken, last time we talked about after the Great Leap Forward, when China was melting all kinds of steel together to make
Right.
something unusable and scaring the birds away from the fields, and then having a famine as part of a result.
That killed up to 45 million people.
Yeah, partly resulting from that. His comrades kind of, removed him from the spotlight, from the
Right.
main
He
positions
lost
of power.
lots of his powers, and but he still remained chairman. And he was probably worried about his legacy. He didn't want to happen to him what happened to Stalin in the Soviet Union.
That's a good point.
So
He did remember Khrushchev criticizing Stalin's cult of personality. He wasn't very happy about that.
no, he didn't like it. Yeah, yeah. So he decides that it's time to take his make his last move to secure his position in the Chinese history.
I think he also wanted to take revenge on all the people, that removed him from power. And
Oh yeah,
so what did he do? He reached out to the people who were ironically, persecuted or kind of disenfranchised by the very communist party in the 1960s that he was at the head of, right? In the
right,
1950s and the
right.
1960s, them and their children, who would be having more difficult lives as a result, and told them, I'm supporting you. He would show up with they would start to organize their own so-called Red Guards, and he would show up with the same armband on his sleeve to show his support.
Uh-huh. By red guards is meant teenagers as young as 15, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, and
Very
what did they do? Well, basically, Mao told them, now you can rebel against any authority.
Yeah, to rebel is justified. And
Yeah.
basically Mao was not shy of making havoc and causing chaos and violence. That was that was the best what he could do.
Yeah, I mean, he came to power during the Chinese Civil War. So he thought, yeah, I've done it once, I can do it again. Maybe he got the hint, that economics is not his forte after the Great Leap Forward. So he thought, well, let's launch a cultural revolution now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obvious.
Yeah. That.
Obviously the other communist party leaders, they would see that what was happening, and they would sort of try to maneuver in that space. They would start to create their own groups. Their children would start to create their own red guards, and they would be just fighting against each other. It would be a huge chaos.
Yeah, the Communist Party fractions. So all these fractions were fighting each other, and basically it's estimated that from hundreds of thousands to millions died in the Cultural Revolution.
Wow.
And massacres
yeah.
placed nationwide. The Red Guards were destroying historical relics and artifacts, ransacking cultural and religious sites. Tens of millions of people were persecuted. Scholars, scientists were killed or harassed to commit suicide. University closed, colleges entrance exams cancelled. Disaster, chaos.
Also, the Mao could get his revenge. Yeah. Oh, this is unbelievable. Now, obviously, after a couple of years, people would see that this is not working. The army would be called in, order would be sort of restored. But what would happen is that a lot of young people, they would be sent to the countryside to sort of cool off, disbanded, and as a result, they wouldn't really be able to go to school. Yeah. So you would get some generations of Chinese people that might have a few years of basic education as a result.
And these people are still alive. These people are the elderly population of China right now.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If they were maybe 16 years old in 1966, they would have been born around 1950. So they would be, around 73 now. And as we know that as people get older, they don't want to remember all the terrible things that happened in their lives, but they might try to reminisce on the positives that happened in their lives when they were young, when they were little. It's kind of like these jokes, of grandchildren asking their grandfather, when was the best time of your life, Grandpa? During Hitler's Germany. Oh my God, Grandpa, how can you say that? Because I was able to make love to your grandma 3 times a day. It's these kind of things that people they'll want to forget all the bad things. So you would see, this kind of a nostalgia for some of the aspects that happened around this time. You'd be able to travel all around China on the trains, have fun, maybe, I don't know.
Like in Nazi Germany.
Kill a few teenagers.
They were with Wehrmacht all around Europe.
in a certain sense,
Yeah. So even the Chinese Communist Party acknowledged in 1981 that the Cultural Revolution was wrong and was responsible for the most severe setback and the heaviest loss suffered by the people.
Wow.
Yet every banknote that is used in China, yuan banknote, has Mao Zedong portraits.
Yeah.
Mao Zedong portrait on it.
I mean, you have the smaller denominations, some cents, a few Mao or a few Fen that would have ethnic minorities. But those aren't used that much anymore. Yeah. Before that, there were the older versions would have the different people on the banknotes. But now it's Chairman Mao all the way.
Right. Now everywhere. Mao everywhere.
Hmm.
And, still 70-30. Mao was 70% right and 30% wrong.
Yes. No, I suppose
That's
that if you got rid of Mao entirely, I mean, what else is left? He was the founder of the People's Republic of China. If you remove him, what
theoretic,
sort of a raison d'être, or what the kind of a reason for existence is there for the party?
theoretically, this was a good move because Chinese Communist Party was afraid that they would end up like the Soviet Union. They were afraid that the party would fall and some revolution would happen. So they just stick to Mao. And after his death in 1976, officially the Cultural Revolution ended in 1969, but it continued, actively continued until his death, which was
Yes.
is his death in 1976.
And even after his death, his wife would try to hold on to some power along with some other party members, the Gang of Four. But they would eventually be eliminated by Deng Xiaoping and other politicians. And this is how Deng Xiaoping came into prominence, rose into spotlight.
Right, right. So one of the things that Mao did right after launch Cultural Revolution was that he published his Red Book.
Well, so this would be this kind of a concise compilation of his quotations. The kind of
Right.
the selection of the very best. This will be widely published. They give some numbers of from 1 billion to 6 billion copies. These kinds of ridiculous numbers.
Right.
Yeah, and people would sit in some small study groups, even in the army, and they would read from that. And not just the Little Red Book was omnipresent during the Cultural Revolution, but you would also have a lot of signs, these kinds of large character Dazabao banners with quotations from Chairman Mao. You would have different kind of plates with this image, and all these kinds of extremely narcissistic cult of personality things. And yeah, after his death, people would be sick of this.
Yeah, Mao liked the resemblance that this book of quotations was nothing new. It would resemble like book of quotations by philosophers such as Confucius.
Like the
So,
analytes or any kind of selections that people make from the analytes. Yeah, you have a point.
Mhm.
And maybe he saw this as
and
a similarity.
one of the people that were perched was today's current Chinese president Xi Jinping's father.
Yes, he was, and even Xi Jinping himself at this point, he got from Beijing. He got sent to the countryside, somewhere to Inner
Right,
Mongolia, and he
right.
tried the first chance he got. He hopped on a train and ran the hell out of there, right? I mean, he
But
couldn't handle it, and I don't blame him. I mean, it must suck, to
must have
be
been hard.
stuck
He
in
was
the
a
village.
prince.
Yeah.
He was princeling. His father was a communist cadre, so he was pampered since his birth, and suddenly he was forced to work in the countryside like some kind of peasant. Must have been very difficult for him.
Yes. Well, I mean, pampered as in pampered. I mean, he would have a better life, than most of the other people. Sure, but yeah, during the Cultural Revolution, his father would be imprisoned. When Xi Jinping tried to get back to Beijing, his mother probably sent him right back to the countryside
Right.
because maybe this was still safer than being in Beijing at that time.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
Right now,
what did Xi Jinping do? You know, he would kind of keep his head down and sort of, you know, try to move along in the party hierarchy. Here we see him as this regular run of the mill kind of Chinese politicians. Yeah,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
kind of an everyday
This is
man, almost like the early images of Vladimir Putin, you know, kind of a faceless bureaucrat that, you know, you wouldn't think would try to come up with some large scale policies.
yeah. Yeah, one would think that he would learn something from this experience, like don't trust the party, but no, Xi Jinping embraced the party even harder, and he recited Mao Zedong's uh, quotations, and he became even better communist. So it was
Yeah.
good for him.
Well, yes, in a way. It certainly was, yeah, but I don't think he would, you know, trust the other party members as much after this.
Oh yeah, I think it was the second lesson he learned. Never trust anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So
So
let's get back to him in the present day. Let's have a look at
yeah,
at a video. What can we see here?
yeah. Who is Xi Jinping
What
actually?
is this?
Who is she? Who is she? Yeah, Xi Jinping. In the last 10 years. Uh, wow. Yeah, this is a video from uh, John Oliver, a comedian, who made a parody on Chinese propaganda video on the Belt and Road Initiative.
Right. The Belt and Road is this kind of an allusion to the old Silk Road where, you know, goods and ideas would move between China and Europe and other countries. Which ironically was, you know, at the time of the Mongols. This was when it was most prominent. But nowadays it's more about, you know, China is promoting this to establish, you know, their own routes of export, right? One across land and another one across sea. I don't know which one's the belt, which one's the road. I don't think it matters. But they they did make a funny video exactly like this a few years ago.
Yeah, looks very similar. Yeah. Uncle Shibaba. Detention camps of Uyghurs.
Yeah. So this is why you get parodies like these, you know, because of one the funny videos that China puts out, and you know, because China has, you know, sort of moved from you know, kind of a less interfering government during Hu Jintao's tenure as the general secretary of the Chinese Communist Party from you know, 2002 to 2012 towards, you know, kind of a more aggressive you know, domestic and international policies under Xi Jinping.
Yeah, definitely the censorship increased, and Chinese diplomacy is called wolf warrior diplomacy when they became very aggressive.
Yeah,
And
but I mean, Xi Jinping, originally did look like this kind of a faceless bureaucrat, someone that people who were in the government offices and in power during Jiang Zemin's administration, and those that were in the power during Hu Jintao's administration as well would, not see as kind of a threat.
uh
Yeah. This was
yeah, he
a
was.
little bit naive on their part, and I think it was a little bit naive on the part of China observers as well to think that all the successive generations of Communist Party leaders will be the same, will be similar to Jiang Zemin or Hu Jintao. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know
who
why. I
could?
don't know why
Who
people
could?
expected this.
Yeah, how could it go wrong? It was working for so long, and suddenly, one glitch, and everything is back to Mao's era.
Yeah, nobody expected this, but I mean, Xi Jinping was not the that like I was saying was not a very prominent figure. For example, if you looked into Chongqing over 10 years ago, Bo Xilai was a prominent politician. He was the
Uh-huh.
uh, party secretary for Chongqing, and
Uh-huh.
he would be very popular as someone who would kind of clean up the government, clean up the city or the municipal area, um, because he would also be kind of riding this wave of nostalgia, for the good old days of the Cultural Revolution, when we, the older generation, were young and we were having fun and whatnot. But he also would have these kind of showy trials of corrupt officials and organized crime figures. And I guess the other Communist Party politicians would take a cue from this. If you see after Xi Jinping would come to power as a general secretary, he would also start an anti-corruption campaign.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bo Xilai was also a princeling, and he was very popular in Chongqing. And he was praised for his, for his. He was a mayor of Chongqing, right?
Yeah, yeah. He also functioned
So,
as a mayor. Yeah.
so he was a very very hot candidate for the next general secretary position.
Yeah, perhaps at one point he was.
Hmm. Yeah. So what happened to him?
Well, if
Where is he
he
now?
he's still alive, but I guess in prison somewhere. What
Uh-huh.
happened was that, well, you have to keep in mind that in a totalitarian country or a one-party state, let's just say that, everybody's going to be corrupt at some point because you don't have so much oversight of the government. That doesn't change because the government doesn't change so often. And
Uh-huh.
as a result, whenever there is an anti-corruption campaign, I mean, obviously it's going to eliminate corrupt officials, but those corrupt officials will be those who aren't friends of those who are launching these corruption campaigns, right?
Uh-huh.
So when Xi
Uh-huh.
Jinping would launch his own corruption campaigns, I guess, ironically, this was the downfall of Bo Xilai as well. And
Uh-huh.
the immediate cause of this was because Bo Xilai's wife murdered a British national, Neil Haywood, who was
Uh-huh.
kind of helping them get their money out of China. They were,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
they had some disagreements. Or, I don't know, maybe he wanted more money, so he got murdered. So then
Oh.
Bo Xilai fell very quickly as well, and I think many, or at least some party members, some Communist Party members, were happy to see him gone because it was a little bit too much for them. Yeah, the story goes that he also started wiretapping people and so on. So they were quite
Yeah,
happy
this
to have
is
him gone.
amazing story. I think they should make a movie about this. So, Bo Xilai's wife uh, Gu Kailai, with her associate,
Mm-hmm.
uh, kills, poisons this English businessman with whom she's doing some business, and for some reason she wants to get rid of him. And this her associate, just one night, he just drives his car to Chengdu, where is Chinese American embassy,
Oh, they have a
and
consulate
he
there, yeah.
consulate, right?
Yeah.
And so he asked for asylum, saying that Boshilai wants to kill him.
Well, who knows? Yeah. I mean,
And this
obviously
started,
he can't get asylum like this, but yeah.
he was refused because American consulate didn't find any grounds on which he should be granted the asylum, while the whole consulate was surrounded by police cars asking for this guy, Wang Lijun.
Hmm.
And on the next day, he just left the consulate and got arrested by the police. What then? Boshilai's wife was arrested, was sentenced to 20 years to
Wow.
prison, and then was Boshilai's turn.
Hmm.
Boshilai's turn, to take the blame for corruption. You
Yeah,
know.
and you have to keep in mind, the hammer eventually fell on the heads of other people, including some that were associated with Boshilai, such as the former Minister of Public Security, Jo Yong Kang. On the left, you can
Uh,
see him while he was still in power. On the right, this is 3 years later, so he must have had some
uh-huh.
stress after his arrest, or he wasn't able to continue dyeing his hair.
Right, that's why. And when you look older in the court, maybe the court tends to be more merciful,
Yeah, possibly.
more easy.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so this is, another example of Xi Jinping sort of removing people, that
Mhm.
I guess were going to be removed anyway, but obviously if he has the will and the power to, appoint or help appoint people that will be loyal to him to these positions.
Oh, right, right. So,
So with a lot of
after
his political rivals gone, you know.
interesting, yeah? After Boshilai's downfall, 2012, Xi Jinping is appointed president in March 2013, and he starts his anti-corruption campaign
Yeah.
because, I don't know, maybe he saw that people liked it, so why not to
Yeah,
continue?
it seems like that. I mean, why would he go against the current? Why would he swim against the tide? You gotta swim
Yeah.
with the tide, like Chairman Mao, right?
Right, right.
So the fact
And,
that these ideas are having a research in society, then it sets a dangerous precedent, because
Uh-huh.
it's one thing, if people are going to Yan'an and looking at all these old communist monuments and memorabilia. All right, that's just tourism, but it's another thing, when it starts affecting government policies and people's freedoms.
Xi Jinping became very popular. We came out of nowhere. He was actually like a compromise between different fractions in the CCP. So they eventually they agreed on this guy because he looked harmless.
I suppose so.
So
Yeah.
and he
Well,
started his anti-corruption campaign, talking about against tigers and was it
flies.
tigers
Yeah.
and what?
Tigers and flies.
Tigers. All right.
Tigers meaning the big shots, the major officials that would be corrupt, and flies, being these annoying little pesky bureaucrats that would annoy the hell out of regular people. So this was very
It was
popular in China, wasn't it?
this was so catchy that even my Chinese parents-in-law very often jokingly were talking about tigers and flies.
So they loved it, yeah.
They loved it. Everybody loved it. It was great.
What's not to love? Yeah, it's catchy.
Yeah, everybody was so positive. Like, wow, China is becoming even better, and even the foreign newspapers were praising Xi Jinping, for his anti-corruption campaign.
Yeah, but what most people perhaps didn't were a little bit myopic in the sense that they didn't look at this through the optics of the future, because if some officials are removed, those that are going to be come into power in a one-party state, they will certainly be loyal to the current leader because they don't want to get removed.
Right.
So that's
Yeah,
that's
after
where
removing
that's
all
where we
the
are now.
rivals. Yeah, after removing all the rivals, I mean, he realized that suddenly he has more power than he ever dreamed of,
Yeah.
and maybe he just went up to his head, and he by 2018 he managed to put his thoughts, like a book of thoughts, like a literate book that Mao Zedong had,
Yeah.
into the Chinese constitution.
Yeah, we see it right here. This is beautiful because this is in so many languages. I wonder who got paid for these translations because nobody's gonna rereading this. But yeah, looks so wonderful, and you see them displayed in some Chinese bookshops, government offices, some larger police stations might have.
Uh-huh. Well, not only police station in China. I remember in 2017 when Mark Zuckerberg came to China, he went jogging under a cloud of toxic smoke in Beijing, and he was talking about Chinese President Xi Jinping's latest book, how he read it, and he recommended the book and bought lots of books for his employees. And
I'm sure he
he's
did.
learning, yeah, and he even asked Xi Jinping for naming his baby,
Wow.
which Xi Jinping declined. Xi Jinping declined his honor because it could have been disaster.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you married a Russian lady asking Vladimir Putin to give you some suggestions for good Russian names?
Svetlana, or I don't know.
Vladimir.
Right. There is a Chinese idiom that Xi Jinping used while talking to Mark Zuckerberg, and the idiom goes like "Mae buchang reni zai,"
So,
which
my
means
as in business, Buchang not successful,
not
but
successful.
but
We ask your friends.
oh, how beautiful! Yeah, that,
Amazing,
no, I mean, obviously, Mark Zuckerberg was trying to get, if not have, Facebook in China, at least to keep good relations with the government and with the Chinese advertisers on Facebook.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of an approach that Chinese people might call, too young, too simple, or
Yeah.
Jiang Zhong might call. Too young, too
Sometimes
simple.
naive.
Sometimes naive. Yes, because if he had any backbone, he might take a little bit of a harsher stance, hoping that China would reverse its policy on banning Facebook.
No, Mark Zuckerberg is a man without any principles, so he doesn't care.
Well, it's difficult to do business with China, because if you refuse, then there will be other companies that will be allowed to enter this market. So it's kind of a hard fight to get what you want.
Right, but if Mark Zuckerberg, a billionaire, is not allowed to stick to his principles, who is? The poor people,
Yeah, you're right.
the
Yeah,
ordinary.
I mean, yes, yeah. And unfortunately, it often is that way. You know, it's the people who have nothing to lose, who can sort of afford to be dissidents because they can get nothing taken away from them. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, it is a little
Yeah,
ridiculous. I know what you're
they
saying.
still have a life to lose. Yeah, they can lose everything, including their life. So,
Yeah.
they are the brave people. Mark Zuckerberg is a coward, basically.
In a way, you're right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can
So,
see this beautiful head full of black hair on Xi Jinping, kind of like during the last Congress, the last major party meeting. Yeah.
okay, right. It was October last year.
Wow.
This is the best synchronized clapping I ever seen.
This is great. They've had some opportunities for practice over the years.
Nearly 3,000 people clapping together. Unbelievable.
Anyways, this is significant because this is the Congress where Xi Jinping was reappointed as the general secretary for a third term. Yeah, and this was
Yeah.
unprecedented. Even during the previous Congress, 5 years early, he would have it removed. He would have the term limits removed.
2018?
Yeah.
Yes.
Before that, Hu Jintao, Jiang Zemin, they would only serve 2 terms. They wouldn't be that longer. Because after Mao's long reign, everybody was a little bit afraid, that okay, let's not have people there be too long.
All right.
If someone that's crazy comes along, like happened with Mao. Yeah. But you can see what was funny at this meeting was that they removed Hu Jintao from the room, the former general secretary. I wonder I wonder what he's thinking. No, I can
Yeah,
I
what
can
is-
stay. I'm not tired. Come on, let me stay. I'll just have some tea. I know this is important. I'll stay. It's okay.
Right. No, we go. You look tired. You
No,
need a
I'm
rest.
okay. Leave me alone. Let me be here.
Come on, we give you tea.
No,
Everything is ready
okay.
for
So
you.
bring it here for me. Let me be.
No. We also have, we give you
I
some drugs,
I insist. Come on, I'm staying.
Well, come on.
Give
Let's
give me the booklet.
Come on, stop talking about the booklet. That's ridiculous. Don't be silly.
Whatever. Never mind. Okay, fine. I'm going. All right. Okay. I'll see you guys later. All right. Okay. Don't do anything crazy, Shi. All right.
Okay.
Li Keqiang, stick up for me a little bit.
Okay, good. Everybody, nothing to say. Keep looking straight. Don't look back. Good. Okay. Good. Hurry up. Okay.
So the official explanation that they gave was that he was tired.
Yeah, he was tired. He needed a rest.
it's a little laughable, right? Yeah.
He was tired, but he didn't know that he was tired. They
Yeah.
it's
But
fine.
they told him.
yeah, he was informed.
So
Yes, informed,
like we were saying, the Chinese Constitution was amended last time in 2018, and here in the preamble we can see these ideas that every major leader would try to have on the country. So here we see start with Marxism, Leninism, then Maoism or Mao Zedong Shishang, Mao Zedong thought, Deng Xiaoping theory, which would just be leaning towards capitalism a little bit more. These kind of simple quotes of the if the cat is black or white, it's okay. It just needs to catch mice. Wow, you're so smart.
All right.
And notice then we have the theory of three represents. And
Mm-hmm.
this was during Jiang Zemin's era of him being the general secretary. But you don't see him mentioned
Uh-huh.
by name. Neither do you see Hu Jintao. Um,
Why is that?
they were not they were not as I don't know what to say, power hungry as
All right.
Xi Jinping, or they were not able to consolidate their power if they would have liked, because you can see Xi Jinping is mentioned here by name, right? His thought is already enshrined into the constitution. Yeah.
He put himself on the same pedestal as this communist giant in quotation marks.
Right.
And Deng Xiaoping.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
It's not very much.
And you can also see, for example, here you have thought. It's like the same. You see,
Yeah.
at least the English translation is the same. Whereas you see with theory, this trying to appear more scientific, with the scientific outlook on development, and with the three represents also having some science there, blah blah blah. But you see now it's sort of seems to me like it's returning more, towards kind of a more emotional approach, like during
Uh-huh.
good old Mao's times.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. He copied Mao, even his literate book and his thoughts. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
his inspiration.
Well, so what actually are his thoughts? Well, let's take a
Yeah.
look. He had a 14-point basic policy.
Okay, let's see. Number one, ensuring Communist Party of China leadership over all forms of work in China.
So this is definitely about consolidating and keeping power.
Yeah, controlling everybody, especially the big enterprises, for example, like Alibaba Group, and basically controlling everything,
Understand?
everything. Yeah, because without control, they could start feel like they can do or say anything they want, like Jack Ma in 2021 was apprehended by the party because he said he was talking something about the new legislature and how to go around it. And
Ah, I see. And this can be a little bit dangerous. Maybe this can give other people ideas. Maybe there are some ways to go
Yes.
around it. That's not
right,
I'm
right.
sure that's not what the party wants you to think.
Nope. So Jack Ma disappeared for a few months, and when he appeared again, he looked very calm and didn't talk much.
But better not to say too much. Yeah.
That's enough. He learned his lesson.
Now, I mean, we have to keep in mind that private enterprises in totalitarian states or one-party states, they're always going to have to be a little bit subservient to the government. And this is to the
Every
government's advantage. I mean, they let a business develop, and one if they later on if they want something from them, they can always say do this for us, or we will find some way to prosecute you or shut your business down or hurt your business somehow. And there will be a lot of other companies that will want to take your place.
every private company that has more than 50 employees must have a Chinese Communist Party branch.
Yeah, they must have a solid. Yeah.
Or
You're right. Yes, yes.
department. Yeah.
And not only that, but as the company becomes larger, for example, if you will have some shareholders, those will be the people who have money. Some of those might be from the government too, and
Yeah.
or related to the
Well,
government.
I would say point number one accomplished. Point
I
number
think so.
two, the Communist Party of China should take a people-centric approach for the public interest.
Wow. Shouldn't all governments do that? But notice how these, especially socialistic countries, and sometimes it seems like the more authoritarian they get, or the more mess they do, they always hide behind the people. It's the People's Republic, or how other
Right.
countries have hurt the feelings of the Chinese people.
Right. So always hiding behind, like go first. I'm here to protect you.
Yeah, and
They
it's
are hurting you.
it's the government, who more often than not hurts the people with its policies.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
So,
not a public interest. It's an interest of the government staying in power, keeping its power. It's not about the people.
you're right. Point number 3: the continuation of comprehensive deepening of
Reforms, yeah, whatever that
reforms.
means.
Uh, yeah.
Probably
Okay.
some economic reforms. Yeah. Good.
Okay. Any
Maybe he
reforms?
explained it somewhere, but who knows? Any reforms?
Okay.
A reform sounds
Yeah.
good. Let's stick with that.
We don't stop. We don't stop. Continue. Number 4: adopting new science-based ideas for innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development.
Lots of adjectives.
Yes, especially the green. The green.
Yeah, there's more of it later. Yeah.
China's been ramping up fossil fuel output. Carbon emission is going up the roof, and it's going to continue like this for until like
It's not.
1935.
China did put out this very aggressive timeline, and they do have some major projects where they're building up windmills and solar power plants. But this is a drop in the bucket compared to all the energy that China consumes, and a lot of
China is
this comes
still
from coal powered.
get
Power
coal-powered
plants.
power plants. China is building more. China's problem, to diversify from coal.
Well, to be fair, they are also building more nuclear power plants, for
Okay.
better or for worse.
All right.
What about number 5?
Following socialism with Chinese characteristics, with people as the masters of the country.
Wow, that's even better than point number 2. Yeah, people are truly masters of the country. Wow,
Now, in point number 5, people
it's
are
getting better and
promoted to
better.
master.
Yeah, but what about the socialism with Chinese characteristics? What is that?
Yeah, why do they have to add Chinese characteristics? Why
mean,
not just socialism?
Yeah, or some, yeah, or something different. It sounds like you could, if you want, you could slap Chinese characteristics onto anything.
Right. And basically it's no socialism if you don't recognize it, because it has Chinese characteristics.
Okay. So basically, it can be anything we want. We just say, oh, it's with Chinese characteristics. This is ours. That's why it's a little different.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Like it's not baitio. It's whiskey, but it's with Chinese characteristics. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
What about number 6?
Governing China with the rule of law. This is a joke.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, look at it on paper. China does have, a separation of powers between the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the problem is these
Is there separation
are
of power
all
between,
staffed by
between
Communist Party members.
yeah.
The administration is
rule
staffed
of law.
with the Communist Party members. The judges are Communist Party members, and the legislators are Communist Party members too.
There is no rule of law. Like if I'm rich and I drive a car and I hit and kill somebody, and my case doesn't go public, so people don't know that, but people don't.
I see. I see what you're getting at. You're saying that it's mostly
I
when
don't
there
go.
are more public complaints, when the public gets interested. That's when the government starts to investigate a little bit more.
Yeah, that's right. So if it doesn't go public, I'm not going to prison. I just pay off the family of the victim, and I walk
Oh, okay.
free.
You think there might be, yeah. I see.
Guaranteed.
I see.
Guaranteed. I would add these Chinese characteristics and into this point, governing China with the rule of law with Chinese characteristics, and then it's okay with me.
Okay, I see. Sometimes it does feel, like the police is not necessarily following written law, but more like mediating between different parties. I mean, especially in civil lawsuits. I mean, it's getting better, I guess, than in the past. But that's also because of better surveillance system. So, on the one hand, this helps stop crime. On the other hand, this also helps stop dissent.
That's right. Yeah.
How about number seven?
Number 7. Practice socialist core values, including Marxism, Leninism, and socialism with Chinese characteristics.
Not just any old socialism. It's the socialism with Chinese characteristics. What are the socialist core values? This is again a specifically Chinese thing. You see this in a lot of places in China. These 12 slogans. Essentially 24 characters, 12 words. And there are all these kind of nice things. Like prosperity, democracy is my favorite one. Yeah. And they have the rule of law as well. Yeah, so they're
Okay.
very important. But there's also patriotism, which basically in translation means obeying the state. Um, and so very common like friendship, and there is also harmony. This 和谐, which was also one of the slogans of Hu Jintao's reign. Yeah, right here, 和谐. When people want to build a sort of a 和谐社会, a harmonious society, and when people would sometimes mock this online, they might use different characters that would be pronounced the same way, like river crabs, to sort of poke fun at this censorship. But this wasn't such a big issue during Hu Jintao's reign. People still sometimes crack jokes, but as Xi
I
Jinping
guarantee.
has moved forward during his tenure, you see a little bit less and less humor.
If this humor started now, talking about the river crabs, these people will go to prison.
Who knows? I mean, yeah, I'm sure you still have plenty of kind of jokes, but people are start to seem a little bit more careful.
Also, I would like to add to this point that Marxism-Leninism is a Western ideology.
Yes.
So promoting Western ideology.
But then again, you see, there are some Chinese characteristics there. So maybe basically means we can mold it into whatever we want.
Right.
What about the 8 point?
Improving people's livelihood and well-being is the primary goal of development.
Well, I'm sure for everybody, for every government. But yeah, for the Chinese government, this is the case
Another remember.
because after Maoism they were sick and tired of being poor.
Mhm, mhm.
So
But this is only Xi Jinping's thought. He maybe is not very sure about it.
so what she
Right.
thinks, yeah.
He thinks that it would be a good idea. Maybe.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Yes.
about
Okay.
how about the next one, number 9? No, sorry.
Coexist
Yeah, yeah,
well
yeah. Go ahead. This is
with
good.
nature, with energy conservation and environmental protection policies, and contribute to global ecological safety.
This seems like more aimed at the outside world. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, just,
Yeah,
just, just a,
we've already talked about this. It's just a
just,
thought. Yeah.
just a
The
thought.
next thought is a
So,
little bit scarier.
oh no, strengthen the national security of China.
I mean, who is China threatened by? Nobody's going around threatening China. Um,
Nobody,
what
nobody.
does it mean in translation?
Well, look, last time we talked about China. Chinese plan is by 1935 to increase the amount of nuclear warheads from 400 to 1,500. Maybe that's what it is about.
Uh huh. Yeah. So more warheads, more national security.
More security. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
Okay.
you have to make sure the army obeys you. Let's go to point 11.
Yeah. The Communist Party of China should have absolute leadership over China's People's Liberation Army.
So make no mistake about it. This is even
Maybe originally.
he's thinking the army should be more politicized, or
Uh-huh.
if you would ask me how I interpret this, I think he wants to have more power as the chairman of the Central Military Commission because
Ah.
maybe he remembers this was the post that allowed Deng Xiaoping to held on to power for such a long time.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
It's
Well,
just a thought.
I would say the point, they should be put together with point number 10,
Yes.
That's, continuation.
Well, let's look at politics. Let's
Point
look at number 12.
number 12, promoting the one country, two systems system for Hong Kong and Macau with a future of complete national reunification and to follow the One China principle and 1992 consensus for Taiwan.
Wow. So yeah, one country, two systems, but future complete national reunification. So I think they're trying to move closer to this, kind of to bring
Uh-huh.
Hong Kong, a little bit closer
Uh-huh.
to mainland Chinese politics, a little bit closer to Beijing.
Well, one country, two systems system failed in Hong Kong already, hasn't it?
In many senses, it was a little bit naive to think that China will just let this slide, let this stay in place. But then again, maybe China would have it if China's economic development wasn't going quite as well, because initially Hong Kong was quite important, as an avenue for investment into mainland China. A lot of Hong Kong businessmen would invest in mainland China, and
Uh-huh.
just help develop China. But it's not so important for China anymore.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, not as important as it used to be, but
I
not
mean, on
unimportant
the
either.
surface, few things have changed. A lot of foreigners can still travel to Hong Kong without a visa, but politically, Beijing does seem to want to have more and more influence over, who is appointed elected, yes, but elected
Yeah.
perhaps with the blessing and support of Beijing, as the governor.
The chief executive of Hong Kong is appointed by the CCP. So how can it be two systems? It failed. It's over.
I
It's
mean,
it's one
in a way,
country.
yeah,
One,
yeah,
it's many.
obviously they have influenced that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
And
Point number 13.
yeah, and sorry, but back to the one China principle. They just want this. God forbid Taiwan, declare themselves separate and an independent country of Taiwan.
Uh-huh.
This is just
Right.
what they want to avoid. But it's nothing's happening in this sense.
Yeah,
Let's go over to point 13.
yeah, okay. Establish a common destiny between the Chinese people and other peoples around the world with a peaceful international environment.
Well, sounds
What's common
nice.
destiny? What common destiny do we have? Flying to Mars or what? What?
I don't know. Maybe communism. No,
Yeah, must be communism.
I don't think the Chinese. I don't know if the Chinese politicians are still quite that communist.
It's in the
But
Chinese preamble that socialism is destined to win over other systems.
no,
So that's the common destiny. What else? What else we have in common? What kind of destiny we have in
it
common?
does sound like that, yeah. What about the last point?
Improve party discipline in the Communist Party of China.
So kind of keep them on a short leash. Keep them voting in my favor, is what she's thinking.
No criticism is allowed. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
Nobody can criticize Xi Jinping.
So it does
Yeah.
seem to be a little more totalitarian
Mhm.
than under, let's say, Hu Jintao's previous administration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he lost it. Yeah.
Well, now we know what she's thinking.
Yes.
What did these points remind you of? What do we see here?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Animal Farm. Animal Farm. 7 commandments.
And you said that these were eventually modified, just like, let's say, socialism was modified to socialism with Chinese characteristics. First to Maoism, then this, then whatever is.
Uh-huh. Okay, I will read the commandment. Then you will tell me Chinese version. Okay, and I will read how the commandment changed. Okay,
Okay.
you want to try? Okay, commandment number 1. Whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy.
Whoever's not, not a good socialist is an enemy.
Okay, it was changed to something like 4 legs good, 2 legs better.
Capitalist okay, but socialist better.
Yeah. Correct.
All right. What about the
Number
second
2.
one?
Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend.
Yeah. All the other countries in the world, they are our friends. All the non-capitalist, non-imperialist countries are our friends.
All right. So I think this one was completely cancelled in Animal Farm.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
China. Well, because of the Belt and Road projects that sometimes put some countries in debt. They're not looking at China with as much. Looking to China with as much hope as they did previously.
Yeah, yeah. It's changed already. Number three, no animal shall wear clothes.
Um, yeah, no CCP Communist Party member will be a capitalist. Will own enterprises.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why this one was cancelled too in Animal Farm.
Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
What about number four?
Number four, no animal shall sleep in a bed.
No party official shall visit spas and bathhouses and sleep around.
Without shit.
Okay, so you shouldn't be caught. You shouldn't get caught.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, number five, no animal shall drink alcohol.
No, yeah, no baicho at dinners. No more wasting resources on these lavish banquets
To excess,
during daytime.
you get time.
Only one during daytime. Baicho is okay in the evening.
Nice, very good. Number six, no animal shall kill any other animal.
Chinese, will harm another countryman or countrywoman.
Without cause.
Ah, yeah, unless it's a cultural revolution, yeah. Then you can put them in the jetpan position, hang a sign on them, saying what they did, allegedly, and, sometimes beat them to death.
This one is perfect because cultural revolution was communists against communists.
Yes, yes.
Unbelievable. Number seven, all animals are equal,
Yeah, all the Chinese citizens, including all the ethnic minorities, are equal.
but some are more equal than others.
Yeah, as we can see.
Like Hans are more equal than the minorities.
Well, the minorities, they do. So some of the people, that they do sometimes get some preferential treatment, But if they do, they owe this to the state, So they should be supportive of the state. And then, yeah, in most cases, like for example, if you go to Xinjiang or Tibet, yeah, it's if you go to Xinjiang, especially, there's more Han Chinese people living there now than in the past. So,
Right.
for
They
example,
do truly believe they are better than the others. They do believe that.
there is this unfortunate tendency of viewing and even displaying ethnic minorities as being a little more, even on the socialist developmental scale, as being a little more backwards. You see them usually portrayed as dancing and singing, which is
Well,
very nice, but it's a stereotype.
well, all these Xi Jinping thoughts, going back to the Xi Jinping thoughts, from September 2021, were provided, all the students were provided with new textbooks where all the foreign textbooks were banned. And in this new series of textbooks, they are outlining China's President Xi Jinping or Xi Baba's political philosophy. Each textbook on Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for the new era is tailored to students at primary schools.
Wow, tailored.
Middle school.
I wonder how they tailor it to them.
Yeah, they put for the little students, they just teach them to love the country and the party and socialism. In probably in the universities, they are asking students maybe to, I don't know, to explain or express themselves a little bit more, or tell them how they should feel, and why they should feel how they feel.
Yeah, but you gotta educate the youth from an early age, so it sticks around.
They are brain, yeah. They are creating new red guards.
God, no, I hope not. this is not. I see this as part of a larger trend because I think they want to. And this is dangerous to me. They want to sort of perhaps remove the influence of the outside world. So not have foreign textbooks, anyone publishing whatever they want, but just publish whatever the state approves. Sort of reduce this. I don't know. Let's say subjects like English, and at school and outside of school, and instead focus on having more children and educating them in a more patriotic way, sort of like preparing people for the fact that we're not gonna have as much economic growth, so we will still try to ride out the last waves of this of this Maoist nostalgia.
Yeah. Yeah, they are going back in time.
I mean, hopefully this is just these are just some reverberations of these things because people who were young at that time are older now.
Stephen
But
Kotkin 2 months ago said basically this is what the Communist Party must be doing: opening and closing, always in this cycle. Because if they allow China continually open, they are afraid they would end up like the Soviet Union.
yeah, but then again, I mean, that calls into question. I mean, what's so bad about that for countries that grieve about it now, like Russia, for example? I mean, Russia still has a lot of resources. China would still have a large industrial base to export their products. I mean, this I don't see this as some tragedy. But then again, I'm not in a leadership position in the Communist Party, so maybe then I would think differently.
Yeah, they are fighting for survival. They don't care about the people as much as they care about themselves. This is the elite.
That's a good point.
Except,
It's a good
used
point.
to be like they were deciding as now it's a cult of personality. But used to be like this collective organization. They were working together.
Yeah,
So
it's at some point, Yeah, you know.
right.
I mean, during Mao's time, during the Cultural Revolution, cult of personality. Then they got sick of it. They would have to work together a little bit more, try to find some consensus, and it seems kind of go in these waves. So let's see what comes next. I mean, I remember, in 2012, I was thinking, well, who's going to be the next generation of Chinese leadership after Xi Jinping, after his 2 terms pass? And now I realized, well, I already had now I got the answer. It's not going to be anyone for a long time. And even after that, I don't know who's going to succeed him. For example, Vladimir Putin is having difficulties with his own succession, so
Right.
who knows what's going to happen in China.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Xi Jinping is 71, 72, 71 years old. He's about to
I
jump
think he's just
into
going to
the...
have his 71st birthday soon, yeah. About to jump into the Yangtze River for a swim.
Next year he would go for a swim. So he's still young.
All right, yeah, you have a point, yeah. Still in time to...
Yes, 20
Still has
years
some time
ahead.
to...
Yes, 20 years ahead. So unless the biology kicks in,
Yeah.
and,
Wow, 20 more years. That's a long time.
yeah, so nothing will change in China.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. I mean, obviously there was some opening up after the COVID lockdowns, but I don't know what's going to happen next. I wouldn't be surprised. I've after a few years, some people will still fondly reminisce of these times. Everyone all over the world, people are dying, but we were kept safe here. And
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
obviously the government has to react to this sentiment. You know, they're not going to say no, people, we messed up. They don't have
No,
a tendency to admit a lot of their
never, never. They
mistakes.
cannot admit anything. No wrongdoing, nothing. COVID is from America.
Maybe there will be new movies made about these times. Yeah, we'll have some
Yeah.
foreigners playing the U.S. soldiers that visited Wuhan. Nah,
Yeah, played by,
that's a little too ridiculous. Yeah, but yeah,
all right. Yeah, but
people would
yeah.
mention this. But you know, we do see a lot of, because of Chinese propaganda. We do see a lot of funny things that are related to this. We do see
Oh
some
yeah,
funny parodies. Let's have a look at this one.
yeah, this is composed by Shark Channel, Mechanic Shark Channel, and performed by Eric Funk.
What is funny here is they put in the YouTube subtitles as redacted by the PRC.
Okay, redacted.
Maybe it's a parody of, you know, how some companies outside of China, how they would succumb
Yeah.
to Chinese pressures. We were talking about Facebook, but there was maybe a more significant case um,
Uh-huh.
related to Yahoo. A few years ago, Chinese journalist sent a report to the United States using his Yahoo um,
Ooh.
email address, and Yahoo as a company did provide the Chinese government with the information who sent this, and the person had to go to prison. And so subsequently, there was a case in the U.S. Where Yahoo would be tried, and they lost because they essentially, you know, helped imprison a
Right.
person for a
They
political
dist-
crime.
Exactly, that's terrible, awful. Shame on
I mean,
Yahoo.
yeah, and you know, it was portrayed like this. You know, so I think, you know, a lot of companies would take the hint. You know, that not to help China do this, especially if they get nothing in return. I mean, what do these companies get in return? You know.
Advertisement, nothing else. Advertisement.
Yeah, but what is
Money,
that? You
money.
know, if on the other hand, you know, oftentimes a lot of intellectual property is stolen from many companies. So there's unfortunately, not that much gain sometimes. But anyways, let's have a look.
Okay.
Supposed to have free speech, but we sold our rights away to the land of censorship.
Chinese censorship.
So we had
This is from
our overlords
parody of the Cultural Revolution.
Alright, let's have a
posters.
look.
and we live beneath the boot under Chinese censorship. We all live under Chinese censorship, and we're all in debt. There's no more to bet.
That was part of the joke related to the Belt and Road Initiative. That a lot of countries would get into debt because they weren't able to repay these Chinese loans, and the Chinese government did have some good contracts, you know, for themselves, that they would, if the countries are not able to pay back, then, you know, China would get this money by operating these enterprises for a few years.
Yeah, China doesn't forgive any debt, and China,
Yeah,
Just
not
takes-
that I remember. Yeah, I mean,
like the port in Sri Lanka, that China got for 100 years. No.
I don't know if they really. I don't know if they'll really be able to run it for 100 years, but let's see.
That's colonialism.
All live
In that way it
under
is, yeah.
Chinese censorship. Let's roll out the tanks, the Uyghurs and gangs. The Uyghurs are on board to be taught to love China more. And Xi Jinping starts to say,
Winnie the Pooh.
we all live under Chinese censorship. They say Qing Jin Chong and no press Hong Kong. We all live under Chinese censorship, and we are the ones who sell your
Organs.
organs.
Yeah.
As we live
Bloody harvest.
a life of lease. Our countries on earth have become Greece. Sky afire over Taiwan for a worldwide Chinatown.
This is the common destiny, maybe.
Yeah. This sounds like the international point. Wow.
Yeah.
We all live under Chinese censorship. To Tiananmen protest.
Tank man.
No arrest.
Or not?
We all live
No more.
under Chinese censorship.
Never
Say
happened.
we need to poo and we'll arrest you. We all live under Chinese censorship. Chinese censorship. Chinese censorship.
So yeah, we are laughing now, but the truth is that Chinese security apparatus has become more robust, and technologically advanced over the past few years. So much that if we look at, for example, at the index that Freedom House compiles every year of how free different countries are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here are some global freedom scores. It's kind of simplified,
Yeah.
but they do give some amount of points to each country, and they mention how much, let's say, how many political rights they have, how many civil liberties they have. They give each country a score. Well, let's go ahead and look at China.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How is China doing?
Let's scroll down to see. See, China. Oh my God, political rights -2.
-2.
Yeah, but in a way, it makes sense because to have any sort of a political power, you would have to, kind of very slowly, and I guess with a luck, rise through the Chinese Communist Party. Over many years. Not a very easy process. And the civil liberties, 11. Yeah, it's very low.
Out of 100?
I don't know that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know what the scores are. There are other here. There's also internet freedom scores, with some obstacles, some limits on content, and violations of user rights. That is, who would have access to your personal data. If you go down and look at China, yeah, the scores are very low.
Yeah. How much? Yeah, okay.
Very
Got
little,
it.
yeah. 8, 2, and 0. Yeah. And if you look at democracy scores, I wasn't able to find China here. So, I don't know if this was even measured here. But yeah, the scores are pretty bad.
Yeah.
People are hoping,
Not bad.
that China will reform through trade, and I think there was a general hope, maybe even a naivety, that okay, there was 1989, but after that, China will become better and better, and then, it seems like the government was not trying to interfere too much with what was going on, not like during Mao's days. So, maybe moving from Deng Xiaoping to Jiang Zemin to Hu Jintao, maybe people thought, that, things are well on the way. Well, perhaps what people fail to realize is that, that it doesn't mean it's always going to keep getting better and better. That it can, also China can also become, the government can also become more strict, right? And this is what we see happening. And Xi Jinping has essentially taken advantage of the trends in the society, and has become more autocratic than his predecessors. So, as a result, you do see Xi Jinping, being more in the public eye. You see a lot of these videos where he goes out to the, let's say, the countryside as part of these poverty alleviation campaigns.
Right.
Sometimes the results are quite funny. There was a video
People.
shared on the China show some time ago, yeah, where Xi Jinping would visit a village.
The struggle to get water. Now I earn lots of money and I'm very happy, but look incredibly scared. Anyway, let's
Xi Jinping is the man of the people, He likes bragging about his
Yes.
past.
So President Xi Jinping actually came here to your house, and I see you have one of
So
his
this is the villager that got some better housing, I
你们
think.
在这里
All right.
或方便
After the visit, probably.
tell him
这就是他那个人没跟我们讲，给我们客气是啥保障，和我们加个流行的假套，他给我们这样这个生活方便吧。
So yeah, we can see this is a little bit funny. Notice what is framed here next to the picture of Xi Jinping visiting in a golden frame, mind you. There is a quotation of exactly what he said, what we just heard now. 你们在这里生活方便吗? Are you comfortable here? Is your life comfortable here? But if you look a little carefully, you see these are traditional characters. 这 is in traditional characters. Ma as a question is in traditional characters. It's like a work of calligraphy, like what we saw earlier. What this person had in their living room. Maybe now they can replace it with Xi Jinping's quote. So usually what people might have in their homes or in their offices is, some historical, some nice calligraphy, some chengyu, some idioms, and things like that. It's funny and ridiculous, when it's just a sort of a question like this. Yeah, are you happy here? Do you have good weather today?
I like the comments from the China show, where they were commenting. Like, so Xi Jinping is shooting outside, right? And then he is asked to go inside to sit down so they can take some pictures of him.
Right.
So he goes,
Yeah, obviously.
and he goes like, well, hey, what's up? Huh? And then he sits down, and this farmer, he claims that they had a chit chat.
Yeah, but
What did they talk about?
you got to keep in mind, Xi Jinping's busy. He's got a lot of other things to do. Maybe they sat down for a couple of seconds to take pictures. Okay, now I'm gonna go.
Yeah, right. But they talk. What did they talk about? Because there is nothing what they talk about on the wall. There's no
they don't say, Yeah, and the person being interviewed, he just mentions the question. So they told you, okay,
so there
he
was
asked me a question and I said, it's a little bit better now, Not too bad. Could be better, but not so bad.
Yeah,
Better
so there's
than living in
nothing
the
actually.
mountains.
He probably just shook. They took the pictures. He shook his hand and just left. Like there is. If Xi Jinping said anything else, there would be another
A whole
frame.
wall of quotes, yeah.
Yeah, another quote would be calligraphed, on scroll and hang on the wall. But there is nothing else, which means he didn't say anything else.
Maybe this will be a good business in the future, writing down quotes from Xi Jinping.
Oh, it is a good business, probably. He's a lucky guy. the best thing that ever happened to him.
I mean,
Um,
how many other people get to have a question? You know, are you comfy here? Yeah, imagine write it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, maybe
you know, what's the,
maybe if I visit you, I can write in English. Are you comfy here? And you can put it
no,
on your wall.
you know what the correct answer is? I can't complain.
Yes.
That's the correct answer.
That hit the nail on the head.
Unbelievable. Yeah, there's a cult of personality, you know?
I mean,
Unshameful.
when you talk about it like this, it looks funny. It looks like those old Soviet jokes.
Yeah.
Like in 1907, there is a small hut, a shack in the middle of Siberia. It's snowing everywhere,
Right.
and
Yeah.
a man that's barely able to stand, comes there, knocks on the door, and asks for some bread and water, and the people inside tell him to go to hell. And then cut back to the present day or the 1980s or whenever the joke originated. And there's a
Yeah.
plaque there that said, "Here lived a person who had the honor to speak with Lenin."
So this poor man was Lenin, huh? That not,
So maybe somewhere in Inner Mongolia you have a house like this. This is where Xi Jinping stayed when he was sent to the
Right.
countryside.
you remember there was the video of when Xi Jinping launched this like a toilet revolution, you know, and he went somewhere and he stood next to the toilet.
And he would have
And
his feet, yeah, kind of
yes,
like the
yes,
imprints of the movie stars in Hollywood on the Walk of
yes,
Fame.
yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
He would have his
And
feet
they covered
imprinted
the
there.
toilet. They covered the toilet in some velvet cloth. I don't know if Xi Jinping used the toilet, but I hope he didn't. But you know how valuable it would be if he really used the toilet. Never flush the toilet ever. Yeah. Cult of personality. Cult of personality.
So yeah, I mean,
It's like
we
a
can only see what's going to happen as we go forward. I mean, his predecessor, they would especially Hu Jintao, he would kind of let things, I guess, take their natural course a little bit more. Xi Jinping is a little bit too active, not always, maybe sometimes for the better, but sometimes for worse, because things got kind of messed up with the zero COVID campaigns.
Yeah, he messed up.
Even before even before that, China was already having problems with how to keep their economy going, because they spent a lot of money on building things that have a very difficult return on investment. Like the high-speed railway to Xinjiang. I mean, who's going to be riding these things all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. This regime has become more repressive, and they tighten control over all aspects of life, basically, and online speech, religious practices, civil society associations, basically is worse, and it's not going to change anytime soon, because Xi Jinping must gone, and after that something might change to better. Just like Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong didn't stop until his death.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. You know, sometimes the policies got a little bit better, got a little bit worse, but yeah, I mean, you have a point, unfortunately.
Yeah, he screwed up. Well, safe thing we can say that Xi Jinping was like 90% right and 10% wrong.
Give or take,
Plus
give or
minus.
take 10%. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
So
Let's
that's it.
let's see how posterity will judge this time in China's history.
Yep.
All right.
Let's see.
Well, let's you know, let's keep looking out. Let's see what happens next.
Okay.
I'm sure there will be many more fun things to come. Yeah, but
Sure.
hopefully nothing
Mhm.
nothing too tragic.
Right.
Well, take care, Trabant.
Yeah, you too, Tito.
Yeah. See you next time.
See you next time.